Hey guys, I just picked this thing up. It's a 1997 Honda Rebel 250. Before I really do a in-depth review of this bike, I'm going to just kind of show you really quick what this is. Of course, you guys know this is one of the best beginner bikes. You have a lot of people starting out on these, and they're really great bikes. 250 cc's. Now the Rebels, they're 500 and 1100, so they have grown up in size. But this was, back in the day, this is a 97, a great beginner bike, and it's still a great beginner bike. There's a lot of people that like these, including me, but I am more into the sport bike type of thing, so I always gravitated towards the Ninja 250s a lot more than I did this. So let's look around this bike and see what it needs to get it up to speed. The front tire is pretty thin, and it's an 18, so it's interesting that they made it. It looks much bigger than it is. It seems like it's a 21-inch tire, but it's an 18, same as the Honda ST 1300. It's got one single rotor on the left side, and it's adequate for braking, and it's also got spoke wheels, which is a lot stronger. The forks are conventional, and there's not leaking, so at least we have that going for us. This tiny headlight, it's glass, so I always appreciate that. It's a little bit on the loose side, so we will be adjusting that. Some people they'll restore these, and maybe you guys can help me because I don't know exactly what I'll be doing with the bike. I could do a resto mod. Some people put some really cool lights on their bikes, and there's so many LED lights. But you know, for me, this is actually a pretty superior light. It's glass, it's not plastic. The chrome is in good shape, so I don't really know if I will change it. Maybe just get some LED bulbs. But write in the comments if you have any suggestions. This right here is the Speedo cable. It belongs on there, but it is broken. The little nub here, the spindle, is actually broken off. I ordered this, so I'll be installing that. I believe this cable itself was $17. It looks like it's got some damage here, so I'm not exactly sure what happened to this, but I think they might have dropped it and then this hit something, because this sticks out quite a bit, but I don't know if there's any damage to it. That must have been what happened. This was kind of sticky on here, and then they dropped it and this kind of hit the ground or something. Not exactly sure. The blinkers up front actually look pretty good. The chrome is in good shape, and I believe this here with the two Phillips are where the fuses are. The engine has two spark plugs, one on each side, very easy to access. Imagine having these bikes. These are perfect for beginners, because this is a good way of learning how to maintain your bike, because it's very easy to pull out, reinstall. Engine is very, very small, as you can tell. I believe that these engines also are the ones that you adjust the valves very easily, but I'm not sure yet. That's the sight glass for the valve adjustment, I believe, and that's how you turn the crank. This does have a sprocket, counter sprocket here. Nice sturdy metal covers. You know, nowadays everything's plastic to save weight. Reflectors are there, so horn is there. The tank, it's got a little damage. Let me show you. Right here, there's a little damage, so whoever had it must have dropped it on the left side, and that's how it damaged the Speedo as well. But the tank is not bent or anything. I don't feel anything. There could be, yeah, you know, there might be like a little bit of a bend here. You can see there's a little scuff to the plastic, but yeah, there's a little bend here. Yeah, the other side is not bent, so this might have been where they dropped it. It's very hard to tell though. Here's a issue that I'm seeing, the petcock. There is a little bit of a leak right there, and the leak, I'm not exactly sure. It's probably just the rubber O-rings. It's not leaking a lot, and that is how you can tell it's leaking. It's been leaking for a while, even though I have the petcock off. it's leaking right there. So I'll probably pull off the petcock and see what's happening. It's probably just something that I have to tighten. The left side cover is missing. I'm now guessing that that's how whatever the person dropped it probably broke this, but I just bought another one. I will be installing it today, and this is where the air filter is. So you have a tiny little sprocket in the rear. The shocks are very easy to remove. There's only like a little bit of rust here on the bolts. You know, these bikes, they're not ridden very much. This is metal. You know, I've never seen a metal one. It seems like back in the day, they used to put metal in a lot more stuff. That kept the weight up. The quality seems higher. And nowadays, like, you have plastic. You know, just look at every single bike being made. This chain guard is always plastic. So I kind of appreciate that. It's a nice feature. The swing arm is absolutely tiny. It's just like this little tiny thing. And the chain has got plenty of life. There's no rust on it. There's a little bit, but I don't even think that's rust. The spoked rear wheel uses a drum brake, and the tires are still good on it. Stock exhaust has been cut, and I've been trying to figure out what I'll do about it. Let's look at the other side. Yeah, the stock exhaust that's been cut looks terrible, and it sounds really, really bad. So I looked on eBay for potential exhausts, and it's like $200. So I'm trying to figure out if there's any other way to go about it and maybe get an aftermarket exhaust, because there are bolt-on exhausts that I could like cut here and just kind of clip on. That might be better than just buying a very expensive stock exhaust. Let me know in the comments below. I'm very curious about what could potentially be the best option, because I don't want to put too much money into the bike. It's an inexpensive bike, but I also don't want to make it super cheesy. And look at this. That's the brake arm, I believe. And I mean, the swing arm is just so tiny, but I love that everything's exposed and everything seems to be very, very high quality. Here is another issue. This is not too bad, you know. My Africa Twin in Europe, I did the exact same thing. Put electrical tape on the blinkers. It looks bad. Blinkers themselves, like, you can get nice LED blinkers for $20 for them. So, but you know, sometimes I'm thinking I need to keep the entire bike stock. I like keeping things stock, but I've never done a resto mod, so maybe that's something that I'll do. You know, I also like the design of the taillight. Look at this. Everything's in good shape as far as the aesthetics. Brake light works, everything works, but I love that they built it into the fender and with a little tiny passenger seat. Very easy. Like, design-wise, I think this bike is very, very nice for a cruiser. Of course, look at this battery. It's tiny. What is this? 10 amp hours, and this is the holder. You have a relay here, the fuse, so very exposed. I have a cover for it. I'll be putting it on. And here's the carburetor. You don't have to remove much of anything to reach this carburetor. You have the idle adjustment here, one single carb, very easy to maintain. Of course, the way you sit on it is feet forward sort of position. Just look at the size of this brake lever. It goes all the way here. And this is metal. This is not like a tiny little bit. The rear brake is just so big. It's got an adjustment there. Of course, feet forward. I'm not really into these positions, too lounge-like for me. And look how easy it is to remove that starter right there. That's where it is. This is what I bought. This is the plastics for the side. They're not stock plastics. The stock plastics, you can only get them on eBay for this bike, but I got these from Amazon. They're Chinese, I don't know the name. I'll put the link in the description below. This is ripped, I'm not sure if that's... There's a little damage there. That is interesting. Yeah, this is damaged, and it looks like it was already put on a bike. There's actually dirt on there. Yeah, look at this. There's a little bit of a dent on the chrome. On this one, if you can tell, right there, it says it's got an eagle and Rebel. This part, let me show you the other one, because the other one's in worse shape. I'm disappointed, but I mean, you know, these Chinese parts. But right there, there's a dent right over there. And this is dirty, so this is, it looks like there's been rain on it. So I'm trying to see if there's any more damage. I don't think I'll return it if it works. You know, this is kind of hard to see, but I was expecting this to be a new piece of plastic. And it's dirty from weather. But it's hard to tell on camera. See, on camera, everything looks pretty decent. So the way it works, I believe that this one goes here. Oh boy, so that's very disappointing that this does not work. It almost lines up. It's got the mounts, but this somehow, it's got the wrong mounting point. So it's almost working though. See, like, yeah. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way. I don't wanna have to return this. This one should fit easier if I get the rubber spacers, and it'll fit very much like that. So at least this one fits, the other one won't, but I still need the plastics for it. I wonder if I have any. So the plastics will go here. It's like these little rubber grommets. So I'll install that. So you can see how tiny it is. And bent. For some reason, I think this wasn't an accident, and this entire Speedo got damaged. So hopefully it still works. The key, I got two keys and it goes right in here. Then you have dummy lights. You have a choke, high beam, turn signal, horn, kill switch, and a start. A little tiny master cylinder. Mirrors work great. Pretty decent quality back then. And the ignition is a little bit on the loose side. It doesn't really require a lot to get it working. So I'm gonna start it up for you guys. The S stands for kickstand, and then it should be a neutral right there. That's the dummy light for the neutral. You know what? I'm gonna put the petcock. That's something that it doesn't sound bad when it's idling. The problem is when you're riding, it's a loud bike. If you have neighbors and stuff, this thing will wake them up. It's a little bit on the cold-blooded side. My front brakes are bent. Start, have the choke on. You know, around here they've been cracking down on loud bikes and cars, so hey. This thing does not, it's like very cold-blooded. A lot of vibration coming through the foot pegs. It doesn't feel that great. I was hoping that it was a little bit smoother. But now I'm going uphill. I'm in top gear. And this is pretty much the max throttle. This bike is essentially a very short man that's always picking fights with really large men, because they're trying to compensate. Yep, there was a police. I'm not saying that this bike is obnoxious with an exhaust cut, but it's pretty darn obnoxious. I mean, that is so loud. So that's the question. What should I do about the exhaust? I know that the stock exhaust on eBay is like $200, and then shipping might be $200. No, like $50 to ship. But I have seen slip-ons that you can get. I would have to get 2 of them for like $40 each. And there's adapters that I can put into the existing exhaust. So I'm not exactly sure what direction I'm gonna go. Now I did buy the Speedo cable, and I plan on putting it on. And now the issue is because this bike was obviously dropped on, I believe, the left side. I wonder if the Speedo is not broken, because it potentially could be broken. This works, the little trip reset works, but the Speedo cable was just completely ripped. So hopefully it was just the cable that was broken. The way the Speedo cable works is that it's got like a cable inside, and it's flat on one end and flat on another. And when the front wheel turns, it also turns that little spindle, and that connects to this, and then it works. The Speedo works. Another interesting thing is that this doesn't have a tack. I could also get a new Speedo, a digital one, a really nice one. And I thought about that. That's an electric bike right there. That costs way more than this thing. When I get a bike that's old, this is what I do. I'll do some quick rides here and there, but I'm not gonna go too far. Hey, wrong gear. Mainly because I don't know how good the bike is, if it's burning oil or whatever. But the one thing that is very surprising about this bike is how easy it is to ride. You know, I've known that the Rebel 250s were easy to ride. That's why they use them in the motorcycle safety courses. But going around short, like small, low speed maneuvers, this is really excellent. It's more agile than I thought. And that big front wheel, the big 18-inch front wheel, just creates a lot more stability. Yeah, I never rode the Rebel 250 before, at least I don't think so. I've read the Ninja 250s, and those things ride completely different. Even they're, you know, a little bit more aggressive positioning. So the reason I have one hand off is because I'm holding on to that plastic. And the other, yeah, this company that made the plastics completely screwed up. The plastic does not fit this bike properly, especially on the right side, and the plastic on the right side was damaged already. Talk about Honda Rebel 250s, it's always guys that buy these bikes for their girlfriends. Always like a girlfriend bike. Same thing with the Ninja 250, but generally it's a bike that more sportier and younger people get when they're starting out. But on this one, you have to be shorter. It's like a bike for very short people. I don't like to be this short on a bike. I'm actually gonna pull to the shoulder. There's a guy behind me. Guy is very desperate to pass. This seems to be something that happens a lot. It's just like cars that get very close to me. I don't know if it's a combination of like slow speed or the loud exhaust that people want to get behind me. They say loud pipes save or whatever, but I don't know. This is too much. Well, here we go. Here's that Lexus that was so desperate to pass. So desperate. You're so desperate to pass, buddy. And look at you. Look at you now. So I just wanted to demonstrate how easy it starts after it's warmed up. I already turned off the petcock, but look at that. Just listen to that idle. I was thinking about cleaning the carbs, but I don't think it needs it. I think it just, in the beginning, it's a little bit cold-blooded. But yeah, that's a smooth idle. And you can actually listen a little bit to the engine now. And it sounds pretty darn good. You know, this, I think, is the plate scraping the tire? Probably not, right? So the toolkit is also missing, but that's no big deal. I mean, that is a smooth idle. Very nice. Well, that's the end of the ride for today, guys. As you can tell, I have 3 bikes, a bicycle, a weird contraption I was building here, and that's pretty much it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.